guys hear me?
Yes, Mayor, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We will bring back into session the workshop meeting for Vista City Council. I'll have our City Attorney Walter Chung bring us out of closed session and acknowledge the Mayor John Franklin is participating virtually.
The city council took no reportable action in closed session today.
Great. Now, could we please have a roll call from our city clerk?
The record should reflect that all members are present with the exception of Councilmember Green, and Mayor Franklin is participating remotely, as you mentioned.
Great. And could we please have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Contreras?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to oral communications, any member of the public may address the City Council on agency-related matters that are not on the agenda by requesting to speak during this section of the agenda. If you are participating via Zoom, use the raise hand feature or press 9 now if you would like to speak. We do not have any speakers. We will start this workshop with our only discussion, which is on our capital project overview, starting with a presentation from our staff.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and City Council. My name is Sarah Taylor, Budget Manager. The purpose of this discussion item is to provide an overview of our capital improvement program, also known as the CIP. This presentation will cover the accomplishments during this past year, proposed new projects for the upcoming fiscal year, as well as new proposed appropriations for ongoing projects for the fiscal years 2024-25 and 2025-26 capital budget. Any direction received tonight will be incorporated into the final CIP budget, which will come before Council for approval in June. The CIP is a 6-year planning document that is updated every other year. Only the first 2 years are actually budgeted for, and the remaining 4 years are included for planning purposes. Detail sheets for all new and existing projects with proposed appropriations for the next 2 years were included in the staff report and will be reviewed in this presentation. The detail sheets include a summary of funding sources as well as details for each project. Before reviewing the proposed new projects, I would like to highlight some of the capital improvements that have been completed during this current fiscal year. The Paula Vista Park project officially opened this last December, providing additional park space for residents and an improved key entry point into the city. Park construction also included widening northbound Civic Center Drive from Paula Vista Drive to Postal Way, which reduced traffic congestion. Phase 1 of facility improvements for the senior center is nearly complete. This project repurposed old office space in the Azalea building, creating a vibrant communal activity area. This transformed space now features a new lounge, a library, a game room. Additionally, the former lounge has been converted into a fitness room. Other park projects include the replacement of the field lighting system for 2 ball fields at Bringle Terrace Park and the resurfacing of 10 playgrounds with rubberized surfacing. For street projects, approximately 14.3 lane miles of arterial and collector streets were resurfaced, including streets that cross State Route 78 within the Caltrans right-of-way, consisting of Mar Vista Drive, Sycamore Avenue, Civic Center Drive, Vista Village Drive, Melrose Drive, and Emerald Drive. Approximately 14.7 lane miles of residential streets and cul-de-sacs were also resurfaced from zones 3 and 5. Additionally, installation of 19 speed humps on neighborhood streets is anticipated to be completed by the end of this fiscal year. Completed drainage projects include Phase 1 of both the citywide CMP replacement project and Bobolink storm drain project. Both of these projects have been funded through the city ARPA allocation. The CMP replacement project replaced 576 linear feet of deteriorated corrugated metal pipe with reinforced concrete pipe. The Bobolink storm drain project installed 300 linear feet of new storm drain. Completed sewer projects include the Laurel Creek Sewer Improvement Project, which rehabilitated 4 sewer manholes to reduce inflow and infiltration of stormwater into the sewer pipelines adjacent to Laurel Creek. The Buena Outfall Manhole Rehabilitation Project improved 43 manholes with cured-in-place fiberglass composite liners or epoxy lining technology, which extends the useful life of the system by 25 years. I also want to highlight the Townsite Complete Streets project that is nearly complete and was primarily funded by a $4 million federal grant. 44 linear feet of new sidewalks, 4 new roundabouts, and 35 new ADA pedestrian curb ramps are anticipated to be completed by June. This project will also include the installation of 10 bus shelters and 2 pedestrian crossing signals on North Santa Fe Avenue. Also added to this project to be funded by the existing CDBG sidewalk allocation is a sidewalk extension along north to the Inland Rail Trail. There are 6 proposed new projects for fiscal year 24-25. The CIP budget detail sheets for these projects are included in Exhibit 2 of the staff report. Paseo Santa Fe pedestrian improvements will provide for the design and installation of push-button activated rapid rectangular flashing beacons and LED light-embedded pedestrian warning signs at the 4 crossings located on South Santa Fe Avenue between Eucalyptus Avenue and Paula Vista Drive. This project is anticipated to cost $150,000 and will be funded by general funds earmarked for street projects. The West Vista Way and Cedar Road pedestrian improvement project will complete a missing sidewalk segment on Cedar Road, install an ADA curb ramp on the intersection corner, build a raised crosswalk across the intersection, and construct a raised pedestrian path on the south side of West Vista Way to connect to the bus stop. This project is anticipated to cost $250,000 and will also be funded by the general fund. The Civic Center and Paula Vista Drive pedestrian improvements project will address a safety concern. The intersection of Civic Center Drive and Paula Vista Drive is preempted by Sprinter trains traversing through the nearby railroad crossing. This project will install what is known as a Q-cutter traffic signal at the tracks to ensure the northbound traffic on Civic Center Drive does not back up onto the tracks, thereby reducing the time needed to clear them and give more time to pedestrians' movement during the preemption. This project is anticipated to cost $650,000 and will also be funded by the general fund. In sewer projects, the Via Center Capacity Improvement Project will replace and upsize approximately 650 linear feet of trunk sewer main running from West Vista Way under Highway State Route 78 and down Via Center and reconstruct and rehabilitate associated manholes. This project will address a known capacity concern, and appropriations of $600,000 are proposed from Vista sewer fees. The South Santa Fe Capacity Improvement Project will replace and upsize approximately 750 linear feet of collector sewer main running along South Santa Fe Drive near Civic Center Drive and reconstruct and rehabilitate associated manholes. This project will also address a capacity concern, and appropriations of $480,000 are proposed from Vista sewer fees. The Buena Outfall Cured in Place lining project will rehab approximately 460 linear feet of the Buena Outfall sewer interceptor located near Paseo del Norte in Carlsbad, utilizing cured in place lining technology to mediate minor damage identified during a 2023 CCTV inspection. Appropriations of $1,095,000 are proposed from Buena Sanitation District sewer fees. In addition to the 6 proposed new projects, a number of new CIP projects were added to the CIP this last fiscal year. primarily from year-end fund balance. Some of these projects include the installation of 3 traffic signals, funding for the design of 2 roundabouts on Beaubier Drive, and funding designated for property acquisition for a future homeless shelter. A comprehensive list of current CIP projects can be found in Exhibit 4. Of the 60 existing projects appropriated in previous fiscal years and anticipated to be carried forward to fiscal year 24-25, 18 have new appropriation requests totaling $54 million. Detail sheets for ongoing projects with new proposed appropriations are included as Exhibit 3 in the staff report. These projects include Phase 2 for the Senior Center, which will include new flooring, paint, cabinetry, an automatic sliding door, improved landscaping, new retaining wall, shade structures, and roof replacement. Phase 2 is anticipated to cost approximately $862,000 and is being funded primarily through ARPA funds. $100,000 from public facility fees is proposed to continue making ADA improvements for public parks and public facilities. New appropriations are also proposed for the Fire Station 3 replacement project. Due to bids coming in significantly over the original budget, an additional $4.9 million is being proposed for this project. $592,000 from underground utility fees, $350,000 in available fire development impact fees, and staff is proposing the remaining need of just over $4 million be funded by the Proposition L Reserve. As a note, the current balance of the Proposition L Reserve is $19.7 million and is anticipated to increase by $3.7 million by the end of this fiscal year. An additional $277,000 is proposed for the Michigan Avenue parking lot from public facility fees to fully fund the project. The project is in the pre-design phase with construction anticipated to start this next year. About $13.7 million of proposed increases for ongoing projects for the next 2 fiscal years are for street projects. Almost $5 million is for street rehab overlay and $2.1 million for slurry seal maintenance. Both of these projects are funded by the Transnet half-cent sales tax. 5.1 is programmed for overlay and slurry seal specifically for the most deteriorated residential streets. This is funded through the SB1 road repair gas tax. An additional $1.2 million is proposed for construction of new sidewalks, funded primarily through the CDBG allocation. Additionally, $350,000 is proposed from traffic impact fees for a pedestrian traffic signal at Washington Street for the North Santa Fe Complete Streets project. This project also includes landscaping and irrigation improvements and approximately 125 new trees funded through a federal grant of $1.59 million, which the city was awarded this past year. For traffic signals, $150,000 was originally allocated for improvements at the intersection of North Melrose Drive and Ascot Drive this past November with year-end fund balance. Council discussed this intersection again at the meeting on January 9th and gave direction to add a traffic signal. An additional $600,000 is being allocated from traffic mitigation fees and RTCIP fees to fund the traffic signal. For drainage projects, an additional $2.6 million is proposed for the California mandated trash cleanup device installations project to continue to install trash capture devices throughout the city-owned storm drain system. Other changes include 2 years of contributions to the Encino Wastewater Authority Capital Improvement Project in the amounts of $19.7 million for the City of Vista Sewer and $5.7 for the Buena Sanitation District. The Encino Wastewater Authority provides sewage treatment for 6 member agencies, including the City of Vista and Buena Sanitation District. In addition, $1.5 million is proposed for Vista Pipeline Rehabilitation and $1.7 million for Vista Carlsbad Interceptor Rehab, both funded by Vista Sewer fees. $2.25 million for the Vallecito's Fail-Safe Outfall Project will be funded by the Buena Sanitation District fees. Revised proposed appropriations for all new and ongoing projects for fiscal years 2024-25 and 2025-26 are $57.25 million. This slide provides a summary of proposed appropriations by category. 58% is for sewer projects, which is typical, and 26% for street projects. This concludes the overview of the new projects and proposed appropriations. City Council direction will be included in the capital improvement program budget that will be brought to the City Council for consideration in June, and staff is available for any questions.
Thank you very much. I see Councilmember Contreras. Do we have any public comment on this? I do not believe we do.
All righty. Thank you so much for putting together all the information in a concise manner and for all the work that is done to maintain the city and then to take it to the next level and make it even better, right? I do have a few questions. Let me find the pages. Okay, so starting first with the Paseo Santa Fe pedestrian improvements, the $150,000 coming from the general fund. You said that these improvements are the flashing beacons. Can someone just go over what the improvements are going to be one more time?
Yeah, so that is for the flashing beacons, and it's at 4 crosswalks. So at Ocean View Drive, Terrace Drive, and then at 620 South Santa Fe and 657 South Santa Fe.
I'm just going to jump in and explain what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Along Paseo Santa Fe, where we put in the roundabouts, we have a number of pedestrian crossings that are unsigned. Our estimation when we put the project in was that traffic would be going slow enough and there'd be enough visibility that we wouldn't have to sign them, but we're finding that there's still some concerns for safety.
Yeah.
So we want to put up the flashing.
The reason that I'm asking is I think prior, maybe the thought of doing this was brought up in prior discussions. However, there was some concerns about moving forward. I of course, have been a proponent of this, and I do also believe, I'm not sure if the crosswalk at Broadway, is that one of the ones that we're going to do a lighting? Because that one's really, I don't even know if that's a real crosswalk, but it's brick and it goes from one side to the other and people utilize it as a crosswalk. However, it is impossible to use safely as a crosswalk because it's a drag race strip, right? It's straight. And then people are just trying to make the light. So is that, I don't think that's part of the package.
Are you referring? No, it's not. Are you referring to Broadway at Citrus or Broadway at?
Broadway at Paseo.
Oh. I don't believe
Between the
that's one of
Sonic
them.
and Pearlman.
No, but we can certainly take a look at that.
Yes, if you could take a look, because I myself I figured it was a crosswalk. I've used it as a crosswalk, but I'm having to do this, I'm having to do that, right? And I think that it is an important asset for pedestrian safety and for economic vibrancy for folks to easily utilize that crossing as well. But this is fantastic. I really appreciate it. Okay. 100% yes to West Vista Way and Cedar Road, connecting that bus stop. I mean, this has been a serious issue, and I'm glad that we're finally tackling that. I have a question regarding the Civic Center and Paula Vista Drive pedestrian improvements, the Q cutter. Can you explain that again a little bit more?
This is beyond my level of expertise, so.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask Sam to come up for that one
Okay.
because it reaches to the level of all of our expertise.
The Employee of the Year is coming up to let us know.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the current configuration is the railroad obviously crosses Civic Center Drive and then Palo Vista Drive, and Civic Center is close enough that when the train is coming down the tracks, we will need to clear any vehicles that may be stuck on the tracks. So there's equipment that is involved that is on the tracks that is basically installed and operated by NCTD. That doesn't give enough time for the traffic signal at Palo Vista and Civic Center to give the pedestrians enough time. So let's say a pedestrian is crossing Civic Center Drive and they're in the middle of their crossing and the train's coming down the tracks and it sends us a signal that it's coming, that pedestrian phase has to be interrupted so that the traffic on Civic Center can clear the tracks. So it hadn't been an issue until the Palo Vista Park was built and opened. Now there's more people crossing, so I've heard from a few people where they're in the middle of the crosswalk and then they get the red hand that their phase has ended. So this will basically get around that. The queue cutter signal it's called a queue cutter because it cuts the queue as the traffic is coming down Civic Center Drive, crossing the tracks in the northbound direction. There will be a signal near the railroad tracks that will detect the length of that queue from the Palo Vista intersection. And when it gets to a certain length, it will turn red so that that queue is not that long. That way we don't have to give them that much time. And we'll be able to give the pedestrians, if they happen to be crossing Civic Center Drive, give them enough time to complete their crossing.
Okay, and thank you. And the $650,000, is it just for that? I can't. So is the reason because it's so difficult to work on the railway and you have to go under and whatever micro tunneling or whatever it's called?
So we're even assuming that we don't even have to do that because we already have an existing conduit.
Okay.
But the initial work, just to get through the approvals with the California Public Utilities Commission
Right.
and CTD, that's a big stage before we even
FRA
do final design. Yeah, we will have.
STB and all these. Okay, question on this then. Would this allow us, could this essentially be part of a longer improvement project that could ultimately become a quiet zone?
That would not cover that.
No? Okay.
Quiet zone is, the elements of that are quite different and much more involved in the process, the initial process.
So it can't even be like a little baby part of it?
Unfortunately, it's probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Yeah, we probably have to lift this area. And last question about this, is the inland rail trail crossing through here as well?
It will cross at Phillips Street.
So higher up?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And have we set aside any funding to ensure that pedestrians and cyclists would be able to make that crossing without any issues as well?
So we just received the 30% design plans from Sandag, which they were just initial plans, sort of like they're not in the final form. And then that is something that I will be commenting on as we get the next submittal, which will have the traffic signal design plans. So we will ensure that we have provisions in there to make sure that the pedestrians and bicyclists can cross safely.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Moving on. Moving to the Michigan Avenue parking lot, $277,778. I'm assuming that with that lower figure, this is not including solar.
This is just to make up the difference that we need to complete the project. There is some money that's already in this account, I believe.
Yeah, this will bring the project total to 1.4 million. The original, about just over $1 million, was appropriated from general funds several years ago.
And so are we not doing solar on this parking lot?
But you're correct, we have not assumed solar at this point.
Because that's a lot of money for additional parking where it's not like it's just free parking. So if
We could do two things. We could either design the parking lot to allow for solar in the future, or we can hold back on building it and try to find some additional money to install solar on the property.
I think that it's important for us to plan for future solar. I don't know what that does to the price tag. Do we have an idea?
I don't think it significantly affects the
redesign?
price. It's just
Okay.
about where we allow for footings, and we can accommodate for that when we design it.
I think that's absolutely necessary in the future. If we could get grant funding, or if we have our own funding, or if CEA has a bucket of funding, we need to, moving forward, any parking lot that we're looking to do as a municipality should be ready for solar in the future as the money comes in for us to be able to do that. Okay.
And then also, this is kind of just like a nerd question about the landscaping at the senior center. Are we doing site-suitable, drought-tolerant California native plants, or do we have an idea of what kind of plants are going there? We want to reduce the maintenance of all our landscaping while, and reduce the cost to have it while also having a lot more color.
Yeah, I'll have to defer to Matt on that one to see if there was any indication. I assume it was just budgeted for, but I don't think we picked a plant palette, but almost everything around there is, even in Brangle, on the edges of Brangle, is drought tolerant, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're also, really looking at California native plants, because this is how we can enhance having biodiversity hotspots for pollinators and migratory birds. Unfortunately, we've taken a lot of their habitat away. So anywhere that we can. And so we do have a list of plants, right, that we work with.
Yes, as far as natives, yeah, but we'll have a landscape architect on this project. We'll just make sure they're aware of that request from the city.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Less water, more color. Okay, let's see. Okay, going on to the unfunded mandate of collecting trash in our stormwater systems. I think this is great work on the city. Do we have? I just think it would be really interesting for the public to just even see how much trash we're collecting, because we go and we have to measure the trash, right? I feel like that gets reported out somewhere, but I can't remember where.
So I'm going to let Ken get up. There's a whole program here that he's responsible for that's really exciting, and I'm going to let him explain it.
Okay, awesome.
Good evening, council members. I'm Ken Natz, Sewer Engineering Manager. Yeah, the trash capture program is funded through an assessment on your trash bill. The mandate from the state is to put these devices in high priority land use areas by 2030 to capture trash. You are correct that there is a metric. I don't know the metric off the top of my head, but there is a reporting to the Regional Quality Control Board every year where that is reported out. Our public works crews, they're collecting it and they're weighing it and we're reporting it out. I'd be happy to, through a tray memo or something, provide some information back to you on that volume.
Yeah, I would love that. And I think, too, that this could be part of, when we're looking at a cleaner, more beautiful vista, if there is some kind of, I don't know, it doesn't have to be like a full-on dashboard, but just even to let folks know, how much we're collecting. Now, I don't want to get in trouble with the state and be like, we have all this trash coming into it. But I think people should be aware, right, and thinking about, hey, when I throw trash, it's getting caught, and maybe I should be, it's just part of not littering and stuff like that. And I think it would be a good topic of discussion, maybe even for the Environmental Commission, right? But I just wanted to point that out because I feel like we should let the public know how much we're collecting. But,
That's an excellent idea. And sure, rain in the storm drain was, nothing but rain in the storm drain was kind of the initiation of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been some marketing and some evolution. I do believe we have a site on our website that, speaks to it, but we'll take that into consideration and
Okay.
we'll provide some feedback.
awesome. Yeah, even a little social media on it would be good. We don't like to increase fees unless we have a reason, right? And this was unfortunately, it's a necessary thing, but it does cost money, and people can see the return on how much they're paying, right? That we're able to capture trash. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I might be done with my line of questioning. Oh, no, sorry. I have one more thing. I just want to make a comment about stormwater. We received a lot of money from the federal government to rehabilitate some of our stormwater infrastructure that was really lacking. And I've seen that, for a long time in my community, and we're tackling that at Bobolink and, trying to remedy the situation there. However, I do have a concern that the lifetime of this infrastructure is approximately 50 years, if I'm correct in saying that, and that we don't know if we'll ever receive money like we did from the federal government, that we were able to appropriate, $14 million or so to fix our stormwater. And I just want to let my council know that this is probably not the most fun thing that we need to, that we're going to save for, but it's absolutely critical. And I want us to keep in mind that, if we wanted to replace this, I mean, I don't know, it'd be like $175,000 that we have to put aside a year to be able to, in 50 years, have some kind of funding to be able to replace. So that's, even when you break it down to an annual, it's an extraordinary amount of money. So we really need to be cognizant of that when we're thinking about the fiscal health of our general fund and emergency reserves, because we are seeing with the climate crisis that we have much more intense rain events, and we need to plan for that. We don't want something to happen to our community where, our businesses and residents are affected by these things that are like once in a 1,000-year storms that we're starting to see, become a little bit more frequent than that. So with that, thank you again so much for keeping our city running and for keeping us informed and the public informed about what we're doing to continue the progress here in Vista. Thanks.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Thank you. Just really quick, thank you for the presentation. Great work on that. I just want to thank all of our staff and all of our departments for the hard work that you've done throughout the year in compiling this information and working with the council to get it done. I just have two quick questions for you. The stoplight for Melrose and Dawson, do we have a projected time frame on that?
I'll have to defer to Matt on that one. I think he's got a project manager working on that as we speak, but I can't speak to the
I have
exact
lots of
number.
residents that are very excited. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. We're looking at probably a year's time frame before we break for construction. That's a design build project. We're combining it with 2 other signals to package it for efficiency. But to go through the design process and to start building, we're looking at probably 1 year.
Okay, so it should be completed.
Start construction about 1 year. Yeah, this time.
Awesome, thank you. My other question is regarding Madigual Park. Do we know when the surveys are going to be out for everybody? Do we know when the town halls are expected to happen for our Parks Master Plan? Do we have any indication of the movement on that?
We have some dates for the Parks Master Plan, which I believe Doris has. They should be on your calendar. They're coming in May to discuss those sites, as well as the site on Breeze Hill Road, and I believe the other one the council gave us direction on over off Townsite Drive.
And I ask that more for the public because they've asked often what's going into that space and how they can give input in a lot of other areas of how we design that park. And I've let them know that it won't be taking place until after we complete the Parks Master Plan. But when those time and dates do come up, I'll look forward to having those discussions.
We'll have some focused meetings on that park. I'll make sure you're well aware.
Perfect. And to our parks team, I just want to say awesome job. I have gotten so much positive feedback on the resurfacing of the playgrounds, the retaining walls, and just cleaning up the areas. So thank you very much. Those are all my questions for tonight. If I have any others, I'll ask them.
I'll just share that the public workshop for the 2 sites that are along Melrose for our Parks Master Plan will be on May 22nd. That's a Wednesday evening, 5:30, and I worked with city staff for us to be able to bring that meeting closer to the residents there, so it will be hosted at the Methodist Church on South Melrose, rather. I see Mayor Franklin is on the queue.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I just want to second what Councilmember O'Donnell said. I want to thank staff for their great work. This really brings a year worth of priorities, both from staff and internal and the council, to fruition in this budget. A lot of things to be proud of here. Heard some of the other members of the council say, and I want to second, I think we need to make sure we're doing a great job communicating all these wonderful investments in our parks, our streets, traffic signals, our sewer system infrastructure for decades to come. I'd like to make sure that we're really aggressively communicating all these fantastic investments. And I just want to say generally, I'm really proud of where we are as a city. A lot of our neighboring cities are going through deficit situations and they're in really dire straits. And we've continued to do really well as a city and with less revenue per capita than a lot of our neighbors. So I thank staff for their great work on this. I'm supportive of the proposed CIP budget and look forward to seeing it come back for final passage.
Thank you, Mayor. I will echo those comments to say that I see this CIP budget as really the result of many months of discussion, right? We have had numerous discussions about traffic signals, street enhancements, sewer improvements, and this is now in front of us and for public discussion in a workshop form because the CIP budget is the guiding document that really affirms what our priorities are. So I do want to say that we are doing this and more, right? We have projects that are going through the process of identifying funding for them, of securing a construction contract for them, and these are the projects in front of us that we are officially moving forward with. So I want to thank staff, yes, in every single department for making it possible for us to actualize the vision of the council through a budgetary process that then is implemented through every single stage of development. One of the things I wanted that I just remarked on this is that over 62% of the capital projects are unseen, right? Between sewage and drainage. These are projects that are really important for us to maintain and improve for environmental impact, but also for our expected quality of life, right? So over 62% of the projects, you don't even really see them on the street, but just know that they are there under your feet, that there is proper drainage happening so that we have a good flow of waste and good protection of our environment. I'm very much looking forward to the development of the signal at Ascot and Melrose. Again, this is the result of many discussions, right, where we were able to prioritize and identify funding, and then now we are officially moving forward with this project in the CIP budget. I'm also looking forward to a new fire station. I'm really grateful that we have funds available through Measure L to be able to deliver that for the neighborhoods that really need it. And I'm also going to echo Councilmember Contreras' point that I do support solar on every parking site that we have. Anytime that we're going to develop, another field of asphalt for cars to park on, we need to make sure it has the maximum use and benefit, and it should absolutely include some sort of solar component, even if we're just planning ahead. And I also appreciate Councilmember Contreras' comments regarding planning ahead for some of our sewage improvements that will need to be expected in the future, right? These are big projects that are meant to last a good generation, but they don't last forever. So we want to be mindful of them going forward. But ultimately, I'm very pleased with this list. I think that we have a good distribution of capital improvement projects throughout the city. We're focusing on really strengthening what's going on below ground, and we're making things safer right on top of the ground where people are on the street. So I don't see any other comments. Oh, no, I believe actually Councilmember Contreras, you're back on. Turn back to you.
What was I even going to say? One of the things is, I just have a question because I don't think I saw it represented on here. Are the streetlights part of the CIP? Okay, and that's the what we're gonna put in?
The lights, not signals, but street lights.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll be adding the streetlight project when we bring that forward, I believe, after we report out on the consultant's final report.
Okay, awesome. Great. I had something else to say, but evidently it wasn't that important that I just forgot it and I didn't write it down. So, but yes, thank you so much. And also, I think that, this has been brought up before. Oh, I remember. I just had to talk enough to remember. Okay. When it comes to ensuring that we get as much public participation, I'm wondering if at these sites, like when there's a proposed development, there's a big board. I mean, is it possible that the public can, I don't know how much it would cost. I figure it would probably be a small amount of money, but in some of these sites that are going to be, discussed at for the Parks Master Plan, that, our future parks, is it possible that we could have some kind of large sign put up in these areas that maybe has a QR code or the, number to the city, a link to the website, whatever the case might be, maybe even, some dates of when we're going to do stuff, even if it's, in the future printing it out on a sticker, putting it on the board as things change. But I feel like when a development's going to happen, people are used to seeing these types of boards, and it would be good for us to maybe take a look to see if when we are looking to develop a property, especially for recreation and we want more input, could this possibly be a way for folks to interact and be like, oh, I didn't even know that this was going to be a park, and they're going to have a meeting about it, whatever the case might be. So I wanted to throw that out there. And yep, that's it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone. I see no further comments from mayor or the council members. I just want to give anyone else a chance to speak. I did accidentally clear the queue, so if you want to jump back in, let me know. But it looks like we're clear for now. Thank you once again to staff. Is there any more on this item? We don't have any breakthrough public comments on this item.
I think
I
that's
just want to
it.
second the QR code idea. I like that's a good idea.
Thank you. I agree. We should definitely put some signage in those neighborhoods. Okay, great. So that concludes our discussion, and we'll move on to final oral communications, which I don't believe we have anymore. In that case, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your work.